Arcade Studio Podcast. Listen more. Hey guys, welcome back to Arcade Studio Podcast. We are here with a good friend of ours, Vamshi Damagatla. Vamshi is a legend, but he is a physicist and a comedian. Welcome.
Thank you so much for you guys.
Oh dude, we're so happy to have you here finally. It's been a while. We've had you on the list since we met you, because I think you were pretty much starting out with comedy when we first met. You hadn't been there too long, right?
Yeah, it was a few months when we started.
But you were really killing it. It was like really, really powerful what you were coming up with. It was fantastic.
Can I say one thing if it doesn't sound like boasting?
Yeah,
like,
go for it.
I know many people say, my first set was one of the shittiest ones I did. For me, my first set till date is one of the best sets I've written. It's a set that I have still continued to do everywhere I go. And it's a classic joke about like the Italian bureaucracy and the thing I start with, like, how Italians want to colonize. So I'm like, whenever someone starts a conversation saying, oh, my first set was shit, and I'm like, actually, you know what? Mine has survived the test of time. Every okay, of course, it's in Italy, but I'm like, that is one set I'm gonna keep.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was one of the first few times. So I guess that was, it was a good period for me back then.
No, it's good, but it's, you're very natural on stage, which we absolutely weren't when we first started out. So does that come from the fact that you spend a lot of time in front of students, and you spend a lot of time in theatre before and that kind of stuff? Where does the confidence come from?
I think it came from theatre, actually, to be frank. I actually don't teach much of students. Like, I do just labs and stuff. I would love to. I think I'm good at teaching. Honestly, the only reason I don't teach is because I hate the mathematics and the physics of it. Like, if you ask me to teach school kids, I'm like, oh, this would be amazing, because I want to teach, like, interesting physics. But I think it started from theater. Like, I love being on stage, and I am that way an attention seeker. Like, I love the fact that people are looking at me and I'm able to. It came from theater, I would say. More from theater. And
tell us about because you were talking about you went to the school, which was pretty particular. Tell us a bit about that, because it's really interesting.
Yeah, so I grew up in this organization, this school called Satya Sai organization. It's actually quite famous worldwide. Like, they do a lot of charitable stuff. Then, of course, they have a spiritual guru, so, controversy and this, that. But they do a lot of stuff across the world. So I grew up in a boarding school all my life, 17 years. So from when I was in first grade till I finished my master's.
So your parents loved you?
Yeah, I know. My sister got to stay at home though, And I was like, great, you guys just...
There were differences between male and female, like...
I know. Now my sister lives in Australia and I live in Milan. So, you...
You should be the judge.
No, but it was a different one. It was, let's say, a little bit religious, but more spiritual, and they focus a lot on like discipline, and we had to, for example, get up every day at morning 5:30.
Jesus.
And like 5, and you had like prayer. But the thing is, like, they didn't force it upon you. They were like, look, you got to do this. Whether you do it out of like, they were not trying to like radicalize you. They were like, do it. But the one good thing was, apart from the other universities or schools in India, which very much focused only on like like study, and they were like, it's not enough just to study. So it was mandatory for you to pick up a sport.
Right. Okay.
Like, almost to a professional level. Like, you had to be part of a team. You had to go for training, and they were like, look, just do it for like half an hour. After that, like, after the season's over, you're fine. You don't need
just
to do
try it. Like, but go
you
in.
Gotta be there. Every day compulsory morning exercise, 30 minutes, and then you gotta be part of a team, or you can go and sleep if you want, but 30 minutes exercise, and you have to do something extracurricular. So theater, music, singing, I don't know, quiz competitions, poetry, public speaking, whatever. But the nice thing was, like, we all never took advantage. I mean, we all took advantage of it. We were forced to. At some point, you'll realize what you like, after a few years. And now we realize after all these years that, like, most of us have at least one particular hobby that we could all kind of almost do professionally.
Yeah.
And for me, somehow theater became that one. And then it became into, like, comedy over here.
Of course. So no, but it's amazing, because it's similar to how we grew up as well, because the South African school system is very much like we're working the brain, the spiritual side, and the physical side. Who's that? Hey, Chandler. He's our night keeper.
Oh, okay.
And so it's always about like, okay, your academics is super important, but also you have to do a sport, and then that we were encouraged to be spiritual in some way. It was of course Christian, but because we come from such a multicultural situation, like all the there was the Muslim one, there was the Jewish one, and
Yeah.
and even like quite a big Hindu community in where we grew up. So there was a bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah, you would get exposed to that as well.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely, absolutely, which was fantastic, and I think that's really good because it becomes more rounded. As a human being, you know?
In fact, just one last point was like, although this was coming from a Hindu point of view, they were also still more about spirituality. So we used to learn about all the religions. So we would celebrate Christmas, Eid, everything. So I literally grew up learning like Christmas carols and like, prayers for every other religion. So I think like now I don't believe much in God or anything, but I would still like to dedicate and say that, what I am today is because of that place.
Yeah.
Whether I believe in the philosophy now or not, it has shaped me definitely for life.
Of
And
course,
I think
it's super like interesting, if nothing else. The whole like, how where our ideas come from, why we think the way we do, why our societies are built, why our cities are built in a certain way. It all comes from the fact of who conquered you, who didn't conquer you, what ideas came through, which is something that comes a lot in your comedy.
Exactly. And here we go.
you can't be an Indian and not talk about colonialism, like.
It was so good. It was so fantastic for you guys that.
But I gotta say, the one thing is like, I actually don't talk about it much over here. The place where I loved it, the one time I felt connected to a white person in my life, apart from my relationship, of course, but like the one time I felt connected to a white person in my life was when I was in Ireland. Because they ate up all the colonialism jokes.
Of course.
Yeah, they get all the little details as well. Yeah, the jargon.
Yeah, I mean here like people get the basic thing. You say, oh, I'm Indian, and no, there's a British person. Ha ha ha. Okay, but if I go into like names of British people, no one knows them.
Yeah.
So I say like Simon Go Back or something. No one knows them. Or like at maximum they're gonna get Churchill and Gandhi and that's
the big names. Yeah.
Sorry, hold that thought. For some reason, the cameras died. 2 cameras have died together at the same time.
When you talk about colonialism, they cut you out. This is like the CIA or some shit.
Okay, legend. We were saying before I have a little technical hiccup that you felt very connected to the people in Ireland.
Yeah. Also, like, I started doing comedy in Milan, but I think Ireland was where I really grew as a comedian because I went like, I think I was like 8 months into my comedy and I went abroad for the first time to do comedy. Beautiful scene. I was in the south in a place called Cork, and funny thing, I stayed 1.5 months in Ireland. Never had a Guinness.
No,
really.
Yeah, because I was in Cork, and they are very, very patriotic about their local stouts.
Okay,
and you have to drink the local ones, which are like Beamish and Murphy's. So I would go and ask for a Guinness, and the bartender who I knew because I was living nearby, he was like, "Come on, man, you can't be asking for a Guinness over here. What are we fucking Dublin?" Like,
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. They'll tell you straight out. Like,
oh god, people in Cork hate. That's the thing. Once you travel, you realize that you think all the countries are united, right? Like, and you go to India, everyone in India hates each other. You come to Italy, people everywhere hate each other. You go to like Ireland, everyone hates each other.
Of course, but that's how it is. It's just how it is. Everybody is like completely balkanized.
Yeah, I mean, like, but no matter how big or how small you go, it's always going to be like.
But that's why you need. That's why you need sport. Like South Africa. It's the only reason it's held together is because we win a rugby World Cup every now and again. It's
otherwise it would fall apart.
Yeah, that's why Italy's falling apart because we haven't been able to get to a soccer World Cup for the past 12 years.
Or a cricket, but
Italy.
Italy cricket. Like if we ever get like anywhere with cricket, that would be amazing.
No,
like all 5 fans would be like, woo.
But you know that South Africa is the team that has the biggest following in India after India.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most loved team right now. Not right now, like right previously. Now, I mean, when there was like Dale Steyn and A.B. de Villiers and like Mon Morkel, I mean, we all loved the team. Like, we were crazy for the South African.
Jacques Callis is popular in the subcontinent.
Jacques Callis, Graham Smith. Yeah. Oh, that was a beautiful team. Like,
no, that period of that was late 2010s. Early that was amazing. Still didn't win anything, but it's all right. But you guys were killing it. But cricket for me is a bit of a religion. I really enjoy it. I spend way too much time.
You kept on like following it like after school, like 100%. Like,
well, I went through a dark patch when we moved over here because I couldn't find like
you couldn't get the streaming,
couldn't get the streams and whatever. But then I discovered a couple of Indian websites.
Weird.
That I was listening to
unexpected.
With the best thing were the advertisings because it was all the Indian adverts. They were fucking
amazing.
So good. They were amazing.
I think you were the first person I talked to about cricket in Italy. Actually, the first person who knew cricket was him, and he did not talk
No.
jack shit
No,
about
I
cricket.
know nothing. I played it at school, and that's it.
And it was like, finally I found a South African, he does not speak about cricket, and I'm like, great.
Now what do we talk about?
Don't worry. Anything that's useless, I'm your man. It's the way
But
forward.
what sport did you pick at school?
So I started with cricket. I was a
Okay.
bowler, like I was a quick bowler. And
Quick
then
bowler, okay.
Yeah, pace bowler, and then I injured my back really bad. So I shifted to football to be a goalie. So I was like, why not?
Perfect. Which is really good for your back.
yeah, exactly. Our uncle used to play like a university level goalie for football, and he also fucked up his back. So lovely future for your goalies.
And then you went through the school. You fell in love with theatre, but then you went into physics.
Yeah.
What brought you in that direction?
Well, I mean, the thing is, in India, you got to do something on the side. Like, it's not nowadays. Yes, people can choose like to go into arts and stuff, but at one point you had to choose between, like, there were basically 4 streams. I'm gonna say there was like engineering, medicine, or arts, which meant like journalism and everything over there.
Okay.
So when they say arts, they don't actually mean arts. They mean like
Yeah.
journalism and like communications.
Humanities. Yeah.
Yeah, and economics, accounting, basically. And I mean, I actually wanted to become a doctor, but then for some reason I decided not to, personal reasons. And then I decided, I'm gonna go into like science because I like it. Honestly, I was just doing it because I had all of my friends. I studied in the same boarding school, so I grew up with the same people for like 17 years. So it was just more like, what, everyone's here, why not go there? And I wanted to actually go into theater and film as a living. And my mom said, look, just do your masters and then you can do whatever you want.
Your master's, not even your BA, your BSc.
Masters.
She was thinking ahead. She's playing chess. Not.
Well, my mom has like 4 degrees, so
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. No pressure.
it's difficult to argue at a lawyer at home, like.
Yeah.
So I decided to finish my masters, and like the moment I finished my masters, COVID came.
Okay.
And there was no point of, there was no film industry at that point, right? And no one knew when COVID, now yes, we all knew it ended in 2 years or kind of ended, but at that point no one knew when it's going to end.
Nah, it was a black hole.
Yeah, and especially the film industry in India, which was, let's say, much more disorganized than, let's say, Hollywood or something. So it was much more difficult to work. So I said, okay, you know what, I'm done. And I was 1 year at home, beautiful break year at home, because as Indian, you cannot take a break here.
So it's like a miracle that you had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I got an offer to do a PhD in Italy. I got this European fellowship, so I was paid a decent bit of money, not the Italian one. And they were like, look, do you want to do a PhD in Italy? We're going to pay you. The only thing is you have to travel a bit. And I was like, so you're going to pay me to travel in Europe? And they were like, yeah, are you okay with that? I was like, sure.
If you're really forcing me.
And so I did a PhD. But the PhD was just going to be a buffer for 3 years, just to extend and say, I'm going to think at 3 years. And here we are.
I know you're enjoying it, but let's put it in a in a more politically
diplomatic
correct way. Exactly.
Diplomatic terms.
Would you see yourself carrying on in the career afterwards at all?
Yeah, in the career of research. So, for
Yeah.
example, I don't see myself becoming a professor. I mean, because like it's a lot of like teaching and this thing and tenure track and blah blah blah. And for me, while it's interesting, I like it just because the research is creative. And I realized I like to do something with creativity in it. Like I always started with all of this theater and writing, and everything was having something creative. And I like the research now I'm doing because it's creative. So it's like problem solving, thinking about new things. If I were to be doing research that's boring, I think I wouldn't like it. So, for example, clinical research, which is the most highest form of research you can do now, as a researcher, it's really boring.
Right.
Because you can't change the instrument. It's just measurements, analysis. So, of course, then you're actually changing lives, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is that.
The impact
Normally,
is
the things that are like life changing are kind of boring in general. Like I think. But they're super important. You need that kind of mindset, I think. You can't really just fuck around with measurements like I would do in math.
But I mean, okay, so when you sit down and you write and you sit down and think of a new experiment to work on, is it the same fount? Is it the same source of creativity? Do you go to the same place? Or maybe is it the same place that you get to in different ways? Or is it completely two different courses, because one is comedy, theater, want to make some fun, and the other one is, let's say, more serious with real world consequences?
Good question. I would say it's a little bit more towards the same kind of creativity. Because like, while it's true, yes, comedy I'm doing right now is something funny. But like, I started with theater, I did a lot of other things where if you remove the emotion that's there, the thing is like, okay, I got to do something new or look at it from a different point of view. Because for example, in India, in theater, most of the time we were doing a lot of mythological stories. The story is the same, but you want to do it again, you have to retell it in a different way. You can't change like a mythological story, especially something with gods involved.
Someone should tell Nolan that.
Let's get him on. We have a beef bone to pick with Nolan. Every time he comes up for some reason.
Yeah, no. So I was saying, so you had the same story, but then we were always trying to see it from a different point of view, different angle. So right now with the research, that's what we're doing. We have the same technology, and you try to see from a different application point of view. So right now we actually do biomedical physics. So the technology is being used for measuring patients. But what we see is like for the system, the patient and snow are the same.
Yeah.
From physics point of view,
because you're looking at the color of the skin, the reflectance, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then also the scattering, the dispersion, everything. So it's the same. So the instrument doesn't know this is snow and this is human. We have like blood and lipids and fat, and the snow has like I don't know, algae and pollutants and water. So it's the same. Yeah. And so we were like, why not just use this over there? All the technology exists, all of the analysis exists. You just have to transport it, put it over there, and you measure it.
So you could maybe use the same thing to measure like the rate that the glaciers are melting at or something like that.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. That's super interesting. That's fantastic. Because that's where I find it super, like a creative brain is fundamental to like any kind of pursuit. If you're accounting or if you're doing physics or if you're doing comedy or if you're doing photography, whatever it is, you need somebody that tackles the same problem from a different point of view. And it's like, okay, we've got this thing, and that's how every single breakthrough has been made.
Yeah, exactly. And then you take the creativity from one into the other. Like maybe you had an idea over here, which you say, we can try out the same thing over there.
Yeah, and it works.
And it works.
You just have to know that it exists.
Yeah.
It's like it's pretty much like it goes back to the school, like the way they were forcing you to have like exposure to different things, so you could actually know that things are out there. That's what I missed at school. They kind of forced you to do that closed amount of stuff. But when you're exposed to so much more, like I would never have known like about stand-up comedy if it wasn't for like a video that came through like your friends or something.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were exposed to all that kind of stuff, it just like you can actually discover what you're good at.
Of course.
And then you just apply that. And I mean, like even I'm sure stand-up comedy has really improved your public speaking skills and presentations in your workplace.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, it started the other way. Like I started with public speaking, so I was super good. So they would always invite me, and that's when I realized that I could give funny speeches, and that is stand-up comedy.
And immediately, the people's attention is like,
we mustn't project on other people our deficits.
I forgot he was a fucking prodigy.
He's a theatre kid.
He's a drama kid.
So your mom has 4 degrees. Your dad?
Oh, my dad 2.
Okay.
My dad, 2, 1, I think.
But good degrees, right? Like better degrees.
By default.
Sorry, Mom, I'm joking, Mom. I'm joking. 100%.
So my mother is a lawyer, and she will be sending you a notice.
It'll be the first cease and desist letter.
It's all jokes, Mom.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
I think I interrupted you.
About
there was a point you were saying.
I'm used to destroying the flow.
No, of getting lots of inputs to get through.
The exposure, maybe.
Yep.
Oh, no, yeah. How has, you mix up stuff, right? So, for example, like comedy, how has it affected my physics? Because you said, so you must be good at public speaking and this thing. I have this thing where I do, like when I do a presentation at a conference, a serious one. And one thing is you go to a conference, you sit 8 hours of boring presentations, one after the, and it's like they're interesting work, but like 8 hours, come on. So what I would do is like, have every slide and I have the title of the slide, and next to it I would put like a small little quotation, which was like a funny quote or a witty quote or something, So for example, talking about water, and on the side I would put like, thousands have lived with love but none without water or something like that. Or like I was talking about something I would like Monte Carlo simulation, I would put on the side the house never wins or the house always wins.
Little Easter eggs for whoever's in the.
And who's reading the slides?
Yeah, and so people, what they do is like, they know something is coming up the next slide. So even if they're bored, they're like, you know what, I'm going to stay for the next slide. They wait, and then of course I'm talking about the slide for like 30 seconds or 1 minute. So they read that and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to go through the slide, and they wait for the next one.
And you never mention it.
No,
it's just there, like
it's just there on the side. If they see, they see.
Okay.
But the number of compliments I've received for it, every time they tell me, by the way, we liked all the things you wrote on the top. And then for me, that was something that came from comedy. Because the first few times before I was doing comedy, I used to never do it. The moment I started doing comedy, that changed in all of my presentations as well, because I said, God, I need it to be. I mean, of course, the line between professionalism and comedy.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, like every single, like if you look at also some of the most famous speeches, like there's always an element of humor.
Look at the king. The king, he just went to visit Trump like a month ago, right?
Yeah.
Did you see did you see any of that?
No.
Our king.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry.
Your king.
No, come on.
I forgot he was king, guys.
Our king.
King Chuck.
Well, you must remember we tried to kick the British out many times, as on the Boer side of South Africa. So, but we have a very very difficult. The South Africans call the British the salties, because they have 1 foot in England, 1 foot in South Africa, and their balls in the ocean.
I did not.
Yeah.
When did South Africa get independence?
It was wait a second, 1948. Was
okay,
full
so it was like 1 year
independence.
after us. Okay.
Yeah, because it was after the war and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was already like they had the Anglo-Boer Wars in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So the British had sort of taken over, and I think the Republic was finally out of it in 1948. If I'm wrong, just write it in the comments, please.
Yeah, all three of you.
Yeah. I doubt any of our followers know anything about South African history, but it's all right.
Yeah, neither one of the hosts does.
No, I'm pretty good with that.
No, I was talking about me. Like, I love this because I also learn about my home country. Like, I don't know if it's true or not, but
it's more or less there. I think it's.
I think we used to learn a lot about South Africa, especially because we learned about the history of Gandhi, right? And because he got kicked out of the train in South Africa and stuff.
Well, he started his career out thing, there, his whole thing in South Africa.
He was like, you know what?
So if it wasn't for apartheid, there would be no Pakistan, right?
Here we go.
Shall we break this down for the Danes? Basically, what happened was Gandhi fought against the racial laws, but he was sort of he liked some of them.
Yeah,
he didn't mind all of the racial laws, but he was all right. And he grew up in a place called He lived in a place called Chatsworth, which is Durban, which is where I went to school and all that stuff. And finally, he got pissed off and started his whole movement of peaceful retaliation, non-retaliation. Went to India.
Protest, yeah.
Peaceful protest, started up his thing, and when it was time to have independence, 1947, right? 46?
Yeah, 47.
And there was a split. He was fighting really hard for having the two states, I think.
No, he was fighting for actually keeping them together.
Okay. So my joke doesn't work there.
No, but I saw your ego was really happy with I don't know who you were talking to though. Did you see that?
In a sense, it kind of works because they believe he gave too much leniency to Jinnah.
Right.
So it was because of him that they were actually able to go forward. Like if you'd have given, some people believe that if you'd have given it to someone like Sardar or someone, they could have actually kept it together. I'm not going to go on the topics.
No. Of course, you don't have to go into that. But it's fun. It's fun.
I like you say, you didn't want to be a teacher, but I think I can see you definitely.
You know his shit.
He does.
I'm just a mansplainer,
It's the best.
Is there any other kind of explanation?
It's the best kind of explainer that there is. But I just out of curiosity, who were your comedy staples growing up? Because I don't. If you got into it. You got into theater, right? And I imagine you had some inspiration there. But when you started getting into comedy, who were the first people that you would listen to?
This is the question I always dread because everyone asks me this, and I have to tell everyone that I don't watch comedy.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry, guys. I love comedy, but I like it because I do it.
Yeah.
I did not start doing it because.
But then, because we learned our timing and the idea of the joke and everything by watching comedians. How did you figure that out? Just because you're a funny guy?
I figured that out from theater.
Okay.
Because if you do theater comedy, which is much more difficult, because you're doing stand-up comedy, it's improvised, right? You have your own timing. In theater, I would write comedy theater, between three people. You have to write a dialogue saying this person says this person does this, and this person reacts, and you have the perfect timing because it's all scripted, but it has to look unscripted. So over there, you have to really think in your mind whether this is actually funny or not. You can't go on stage and say, "Oh, this might be funny," and then realize it's not.
Right. Right.
But then I have seen comedy, so I think I started watching comedy because in India we don't have now we have a lot of stand-up comedy, but growing up we had more like comedy films and etc. So my sense of comedy came from there, more like kind of cabaret style, what here they call cabaret. I started watching comedy in India during COVID a little bit, but it's all in Hindi, which is fine for me. And then I started watching the more younger generation of comedians. So like people always say like Louis C.K. and Jim Jeffries and etc. I watched them. Louis C.K. no, I watched and I got bored. I'm really sorry to all the Louis C.K. fans. I swear I got bored. Controversy, I know. I watched Jim Jeffries, I think one, and then I was like, yep, this is done. Because I'm watching everything like now in 2026, and for me I don't know. I'm more of like a film and TV kind of guy. So now I watch.
That's interesting though, like because it's going off what you would expect. Like I mean, normally it's like me and books.
He doesn't read.
I don't read.
It's incredible.
But I love books. I don't know. But that's super interesting because
tell us why it's interesting rather than saying that it's interesting.
Because it's interesting. See, timing. No, but it goes back to like also exactly what we're talking about. Like the creativity is just like you're taking it from somewhere else and you're placing it into something that everyone expects you get it from the place you're putting it in. So
just not
fuck you, by the way.
I've come to the conclusion, and tell me if this is wrong, that stand-up is actually pretty fucking easy.
That?
It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, comedians always say, "Oh, it's tough." I'm like, take one of the comedians and put them on a theater stage, and you would see them do the worst
I would lose my shit completely.
Fuck that.
No, I wouldn't be able to do it.
You
Absolutely.
can't mess up.
And I mean, I'm not saying this like I'm not good at it. I'm not. I don't think I'm like. But I've once I got over the hurdle of being shitting myself on a stage when my hand was trembling with the microphone and stuff. Once that's done, then it's like, okay, cool. Let's see if we can make these people laugh. And then it's up to you and how strong your ego is about like, can I go through complete and utter silence or not? And that's just, it's fine. Like for me, any like giggle is already a win. So I don't worry about it that much. So I don't know, like once I'm off the stage, I'm like, oh, that was like nothing. It's the 15 minutes before that I go into panic, but it's because I'm scared of people.
No, I mean, once if you don't have the stage fear thing, then you're super comfortable with stand-up comedy, which I did not have because I think for me stand-up comedy is more like it's easier in the beginning because I mean, at some point, all of us are stand-up comedians. You told a funny story at home, or you've given like a birthday, like your friend's speech. We're all funny in some context or the other. It's just like getting on the stage. For some people, it's not. But we all told funny stories. So I think like in the beginning, it's a little bit easier to start out. That's when the climb is super steep. Yeah. Whereas with the other ones, let's say it's more like a growing platform. Like it's easy to be a one-time comedian. Come do like 5. And then you could do like 5 great sets and that's it, like have a funny story. But after you finish your funny stories, that's when you start to become the comedian. Yeah. Because there's a limit of funny stories you have.
When you have to come up with them like actually from scratch. Yeah. And like come up with something new.
And that's when you have to go to all strange concepts and try digging out. Sometimes you think, how the fuck did they think of this? Like what was going on in their mind?
But that's why I reckon like the really good ones, of course, I mean, this is not discounting the fact that they work hard on it and everything. Everybody works hard on their art, but there are people like me, photography, it comes completely natural to me. It always has. Composition always has come natural. So it's like for me to do the job is way easier than it is for somebody else that has to think about it all the time, right? And so I think the really great ones, they just have that muscle. Yeah. That they look at things in their particular way, and they've managed to get their to get it themselves trained that everything goes through the lens of photography and then of stand-up, and then they can make a funny story out of it. At the end of the day, Bill Burr, Jim Jeffries, all of them, they just have it.
Yeah, but that's why I think like that's also authenticity and honesty. I think like because they are like that. Yeah, like exactly. We say this a lot of the times. Like the comedians that we like are funny. They're just pretty much the same on and off stage. And like
as far as we can tell,
but it's very difficult to maintain that kind of like. So there's so much content now with podcasts and like everything that you notice when they do a movie you notice that something's off. It's like they're not that great, and they're acting. But like when it comes to honesty and writing new jokes and authenticity, like how do you approach that? Because it's quite easy when you're coming from like maybe a writing and a dialogue and a theater background, we have to write dialogue. You can kind of invent things, but when it's you on stage, like how do you approach that? Inserting new jokes that are honest and you actually like feel them into your set.
Okay. Before this, I have to give a disclaimer. I know it looks like I'm just dissing on other comedians. I obviously follow comedy.
We want names.
No. I mean, I follow the younger generation. So like Andrew Schultz, Mark Norman, Taylor Tomlinson. Oh, she's one of my favorites. So the young.
She's hot.
Ish. Actually not. So I'm sorry.
Nah,
she's okay, but she's fucking funny.
No, she's funny. She's good.
No, but okay. Talking about where I get my jokes from. A lot of my jokes come from like true stories. They have an element of truth. So there is something true about it. It need not be that the exact same thing happens. So for example, I have this bit about like colonialism and in like Italians, how they would have colonized, and it goes on to a bit of bureaucracy. Now, the bureaucracy bit is true. I did go from one police station to the other, like 4 of them back to back. Now, it's just that I use it in a different context. So for example, also if I'm talking about the snow story, yes, I did go to the mountains to collect snow. It's not true that the police stopped me and said I'm a drug dealer, but it could have happened. But I got the idea when
Italy, it could have happened easily. I mean,
when you're sitting there at the border control, that's what's running through your head.
Exactly.
It's like, how can I make the situation funny?
Yeah.
How hilarious would it be if, that's where the comedian comes in. No.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even thinking about like how is this going to be funny. Maybe you're actually thinking this guy might tell me like what's in the bag or something. Yeah. And you never know like how ignorant they might be.
How can I explain this?
It's like, oh fucking how am I going to explain this? Jesus. Yeah, but I mean that is it. I mean like it's the authenticity of it.
Yeah, a lot of them come from like personal stories. I mean like I'm always thinking, especially when there is something bad that happens, and I think that way my comedy has been lucky that I've had a shit time in Milan, because a lot of my things come from like, I won't call them trauma because like some of them are like silly things, so I'm not gonna, it's not comparable to the trauma which I know some other people have had, but like some stupid thing happens and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great for comedy. And it is. So now anything that I see that's weird, I'm like, you know what, I could write something on this,
But do you realize it in the moment that it's going to be good? It could be a good story? Or do you realize it afterwards that something happens?
Sometimes I realize in the moment. So for example, like once I remember, like I bought an iPhone, new iPhone, right? So I was waiting, my first phone in my life, and I was super excited. I ordered it. It came on like Saturday morning. I was supposed to just collect it. I for some reason I put the delivery slot of 7 to 10, right? But I thought they would come at like 9 or 10. The guy comes on 7 o'clock morning, and he calls me and he's like, oh, I'm outside with the phone. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I go out and I'm like, it's winter and he's on the other side. So I open, like I used to live like on the ground floor basically. So I open the door, I see him, he's on the other side. I'm so excited. So I walk across, I say, don't worry, I'm coming. I took my new phone and I'm walking back to my house, and that's when I realized I locked myself out.
Oh, fuck.
And this is like winter and I'm standing in just like my shorts and like a top and my slippers. And then I'm holding that, I'm trying to ring the bell, but we had a party last night, so everyone's asleep. I'm knocking their windows, literally no one's getting up. And I remember I was like, oh fuck, I'm miserable. But then I have like my iPhone and in my mind I thought, oh my god, this is exactly like Gollum and the Ring. Like I'm miserable, but I have precious.
Oh, shit.
And I remember thinking to myself, this is gonna be great for comedy, and I was laughing. And a woman who was passing with her dog looked at me and crossed the road. And
of course.
Fantastic.
Some guy like clinching an iPhone, laughing in the cold. 7 in the morning. Say, my precious.
But that's where comedy, like often, they always say you don't have any fair weather comedians. You have to have somebody that's struggled, that's gone through storms, that has a bit of an issue. Otherwise, what are you going to tell? Oh, I had a great family. Everybody was super nice.
Yeah.
My parents love the fact that I come up and do stand-up, and my wife supports me. My children are healthy. No one's died.
It's like Christian comedy. I'm sure like the Christian sets are like
Tomlinson
that.
came up from the Christian comedy
Tomlinson, yes.
Yeah, but she doesn't. I'm pretty sure like the stuff that she was doing in the sets was like church. Really like safe.
Bless you.
Bless
you,
man. Vishnu, bless you. Hindu.
Now you got to go through the entire list.
Oh man, I know Krishna.
I bring this up every time with lunch. But do you remember that show that we used to watch? It was
You
like
just say Vecna.
Vecna. He's one of them, right?
yes, he must be.
It must
But
be.
there was that show that we used to watch. It was
Mum
the
would watch
whole
it,
story
yeah.
of Krishna, basically, and it was like Bollywood style because we had a TV station that every Sunday morning it would have like an hour for Italians, an hour for the Portuguese, an hour for the Greeks, an hour for Hindi, and they had in this hour there was this TV show which was fucking phenomenal.
It was like the Power
badly
Rangers.
done. It was. They were all walking around with these massive like maces, golden maces. Those were the weapons, and they were shooting arrows for like 5 episodes. They would just shoot arrows at each other,
It was
and like the
amazing.
one arrow would destroy the other arrow, and that's all I remember. Of
Wait,
the thing.
what year was this?
This is like the early 2000s.
Not even earlier.
Yeah.
I think,
Oh no! So this would have been the Ramayan.
It could be.
Yeah,
could
'cause
be.
It was very
What is that?
famous.
Yeah, it was very famous.
It was
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it's like they do the same thing, like
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
would
and then
beat in the middle.
There's like a boom.
And the
Dude.
audio was like super saturated.
But
it
it
was like
was
so good.
Like it's influenced so much of the way I light things now. Because it got in my head.
yeah, and our mom would watch it like religiously. She would watch it. She would wait for like the next episode, and she was like,
Yeah.
she was just into all these like
Oh, dude,
esoteric
it was-
stuff and
it's
like
not
different.
esoteric.
No, she was into esoteric
Be
stuff,
nice.
and also I was about to finish the sentence, but also like other religions. She would like always watch that, and she would watch The Bold and Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, and this Krishna soap opera, which was like I think the timing was very similar.
We have to put a little. It was. I mean, it was soap opera timing. Absolutely.
I love how your brain just wanted to insult me, and then like I did something.
No, I wanted you to like chuck it in like a little.
Yeah,
we gotta go look for
I'll
a
get
frame
us
and just stick a.
flagged for copyright.
Dude, that was incredible.
But this was like back in South Africa.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like
this is-
When you guys come to Italy?
2002, 2003.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was mid 90s.
No Hindi soap operas about like the gods in Italy. That's,
No, unfortunately not. They
Not.
should, but they would go really well. I think if they could do it properly here.
they should just like put it out now on Netflix or something.
But would you like to get back into theatre, into film and
Oh, yes.
TV and that stuff?
So I always wanted to get into film was one of my dreams growing up, I always wanted to be a film star or whatever. But then as I grew up, I started like also a director, and I always wanted to get back, but I realized that I've never actually done film, and I actually like theater.
Mm-hmm.
I went into film, and I've done a little bit of like small short films and this thing, and it's different, just the fact that you can edit,
Yeah.
for me as a director, as an actor, kills it. It's different living the character on stage, but then when you can like cut and zoom in and zoom out, and then you can be on and off, and I'm like, yeah, but then I don't know how much you're in the character.
Yeah. But they're doing this a lot more often now. I think that they're treating it as theater.
Yeah.
So like they do a lot of like these long shots, and I think that would be interesting to see for like your point of view as a director.
Yeah.
Treating a short film as a theater piece, that could be really cool.
Yeah. Now, then of course, then the other thing is like for me, the golden period of film that I grew up watching was, 2000s to 2000, and I'm gonna go 18.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just feel like after COVID, the quality has fallen off so much. So I don't know if like now I would really want to go into film.
But how do you? Have you been up to date with like the latest shows that are coming out, like the latest movies, like Obsession and like Backrooms and that kind of
So
stuff?
the latest ones, no. Okay, that one, then that's a different issue that Italy has killed in me, the passion to go watch English movies. It's so difficult to find.
Yeah.
And then you go and there's like Italian subtitles.
Because you want to go to the theatre.
Yeah. I want to go to the theater. And then I want to go with friends or something. It's very difficult to find someone who's willing to come for an English movie. And then, of course, then you say, you know what, I'm going to watch it when it comes on Netflix. And by the time it kills a vibe, like, when we were kids, you would wait for it to come out in the theater and go, like,
Yeah, and we'd all watch together, and it was a communal experience. Yeah.
I would still love to go into film and theater. But then I guess now I'm just thinking practically, does it make sense for me as a profession? Would I like it actually if I do it, or would I prefer theater? And I think I would still prefer theater.
But have you written any like any shows, like theater shows, or like okay.
Theater shows I've written a lot in India. Like I
No,
started.
but like now since you've been in Milan, like something.
No. I wrote a short film because there's a small festival they do here, which is like a 48-hour film festival. So 48 hours, you try to make a short film.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote one for that because, like, also I went for that. It's good. Everyone is making, but now everyone comes for these films and everyone wants to just make like these. I think they think that making an indie film means it has to be serious and broody and moody, and I'm like, no.
Clerks.
You can also make an indie film that's a rom-com. You can also make an indie film that's funny. The indie part does not come from being moody and broody.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
That's what, especially, but Italians, their films are always moody and broody, unless they're stupidly silly. You know, that's how the society sort of works. Unfortunately, like they don't often do like a cinema that is a little bit of both, like a dark comedy or something like that. It just doesn't work. It's either like really obviously funny, or it's you're struggling. Can we help you out with a cough syrup or something like that?
I actually have something in my.
You want to grab it?
Yeah.
I see you struggle.
Struggle with it. Struggle with it.
Good. We're gonna do another 20 minutes max, and then let you go.
No worries.
You got time? Is it? Are you late?
Yeah, I told you I'm gonna be late, so it's not.
Okay. We can get you out earlier if you need to, huh?
Struggle with him.
Let's do 15. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Max.
Good job, one.
Yeah, not even. No.
Is it too disturbing?
No, it's not. It's just for you. I don't want you to be struggling.
No, I'm good.
Struggling through it. No, sick. No, but we were saying like how the level has dropped, and you were saying some shows are showing that you can do it with more. And there are a few interesting, really interesting things that are coming out at the moment, especially with like those vertical formats, Instagram things where people do like really high quality writing and filmography in really short spurts, which might be the way forward at the moment. I don't know.
But I always think it's always, it depends what you want to tell. Like, what story do you want to tell? I think a lot of these like short form, like micro dramas as well that they're doing. It's perfect for that kind of format. So it's like it's pretty much always going to be the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the two films I mentioned before, is like they've just blown up the box office, and they're indie. They're like 20-year-old kids who did it on like YouTube, and it's amazing. Like the technology is there, but the weird thing is that they're not like embracing the technology, but they're embracing the distribution of it. So it's I'm super interested. I think it's going to be like a kind of golden age of like YouTube is going to like pick up even more now, I think, and people are going to really start doing some stuff that's going to be a little bit more like getting out of this what you're talking about, like this it's indie, so it's going to be like either really splatter or really depressing or really like violent. And I think like that's something that Cortocircuito, we did another episode with like two ladies who like have like a short film festival and like a Rassegna, and they said the same thing. They said everyone's doing like very serious and like maybe toned down but like still like depressing stuff, and it's very rare to see people doing comedy and like and funny stuff. And so
because it's honestly harder to write it.
It's harder to do comedy,
and it's much easier to actually to just do a very dark sort of moody thing. You just have somebody crying in a corner, and then she's crying in the shower, and then she's crying in the car, and that's your movie done.
Funny.
I think the other problem is also what I see is like, you know, now with the access that everyone has a camera, everyone thinks they're a DOP.
Yeah.
So everyone has this shot they want to do. And like what I saw is like people are not focusing on the story. I'm like, as a director, you got to focus on the story. Your DOP's job is to focus on the photography. Yes, you may have this shot you want to do, but if you're going to be babysitting the DOP, why the fuck is he or she there?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they have their own little... So I'm like, you know, I like it. I get it that you have this point of view that you want to see, but For me, it's amazing if a director also knows how he want to shoot it, exactly. But first, the story is your main job.
100% agree.
Yeah, directing.
Yeah, the film is not just the photography. If there is no story, you could have beautiful photography, but if there is no story, and the other way too, if you may have a beautiful story and you have bad photography, bad camera work, it's going to be shit. But then you can at least save it. For example, bad actors, bad DOP, everything you can save it if there is a story.
Yeah.
But you can have the best of everything. If you don't have a story, it's gone to shit.
It's gone. Yeah, that's...
Well, I mean, we will always go back to it, but, Smith with Clerks, yes, it all shot in black and white in a period where everything was super saturated and everybody wanted color, and what was it, early 90s, mid 90s.
It was 92 maybe.
Yeah, so he did that because he didn't have money to get film, like color film and color processing. And he's like, okay, cut where you can cut. I don't need color. I just need to tell my story. It's very well written. The dialogues are amazing. And I can work with anybody. He got an old skateboarder. He got his friend. They weren't good actors, but it brought out, they became good actors because there was vision. And if you got vision, but it's not only in directing, it's with everything that you do is the same thing. Like if you don't have a story, if you don't have a why you're doing something, you'll never get it anywhere. You can be the best technically at whatever you want to be. Yeah. But what are you doing? Like really?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when it starts from the technique and people get fixated on the technique, it's like you've started with the wrong foot. It's like, okay, the technique should support the idea.
Yeah.
Exactly. Otherwise it's like you're fucked.
Yeah.
What is the market like in India? Like, if you go and do stand up in English in India now, is there space? Is there something growing there?
Oh, so the stand up market in India is huge because it blew up. I think 2018, 16. There were like small groups that would do before, but mainly grew up in like 2018, 16, like post COVID, let's say. It's much bigger than in Italy, actually. Not in terms of open mics, but like the thing is in Italy, what I noticed is like there's much more open mics everywhere, and you either have open mics or you have top level comedians, and there's very little in between. In India, it's the opposite. It's very rare to find open mics, and you have top level comedians, but the mid level comedians are where there's a lot of them. So it's like cheap tickets, like something like let's say €5 or €3 tickets or something, but everyone goes because they're like a lot of famous comedians who are not super famous, but who are still famous, like 1 million, which in India is not a lot. But
I mean, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot for the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
for the algorithm.
So you're laughing. Yeah.
So English comedy is less because everyone does in Hindi.
Okay.
English comedy, there's a very few comedians, and I have this beef with Hindi comedy is because like not everyone understands Hindi. So what I noticed is like there was this one comedian who became super famous. And he had this storytelling style where like, he's super good. And it's called Basi or something. But he would do like these funny stories because he had a lot of them. And then, he would add in a lot of bad words. And one point, I felt like comedy in India just became say a story and swear.
Okay, yeah.
Because in India, people don't really swear. We're really polite. It's not nice to swear. We don't actually say cuss words. So
shock factor
of just saying that. But it's changing. There's a lot of English comedians too. Famous ones, so much more in Hindi, of course, but it's growing at a rapid pace. I don't think I could go in India and actually do a show.
Okay.
I wouldn't even get a spot.
Because then you do stand up in English mainly, and now you've started doing it in Italian, and you do it really, really well. Would you
not really well?
No. He's good. He's with an accent, but he's good. Are you able to translate your jokes into Hindi and do it in Hindi?
Yeah.
Do you have the same rhythm? Because your rhythm in Italian and English is very similar.
So in Hindi, I don't have the same rhythm. In fact, I'm not as comfortable with like jokes in Hindi because I'm like, I don't speak it. Maybe if I started speaking for like 6 months, then I would get back the rhythm. I have the rhythm in Italian because I do conversational Italian. Hindi for me, I did like one show, I think, in Munich and one show in Milan here. Then the Milan one was crazy because they invited me to this university where they actually had a course in Hindi at Unimi or something. And they had this exam, and at the end they invited also the Consul General of India and stuff, and they said, would you like to perform comedy? I was like, sure. And they said it's at morning 8:30, and I was like, great. Oof, amazing.
Perfect time for comedy.
But no, in Hindi I have to do mainly like stories. I can't really like. I don't get the words to play around, just because I haven't spoken it in a long time.
Do you notice the difference writing in English and Italian?
So there are very few jokes that I've actually written first in Italian. I have translated a lot of my content, but mainly because also a lot of my content is Italy related.
Yeah, okay.
So I've translated a lot of them, the ones that I could translate on my own. So I never use like a, let's say, Google Translator, because then I myself don't feel the joke if I have not written it myself. So I know that when I'm doing a joke, there is obviously an Italian could have written the same sentence in a better way.
Yeah.
But I know that I would not have written it that way because my Italian is that level. But there are some jokes that I've written in Italian mainly because of like how I talk with friends. So those are kind of the jokes which I don't think would come to me in English, because like in Italy I don't talk casually to friends in English. Like in India I would get that. In India we have an English called like Tinglish and Hinglish. It's a mix of Hindi and English, Telugu and English. So in India I would get that because I have that casual English that I do. Here my English is always, let's say, formal. So when I'm doing it I can't. But my Italian is informal. In fact, I can't do the fucking formal thing in Italian.
No, I mean neither. I've been here 23 years. I still can't
it's
do it.
difficult.
Yeah, so
because the moment you mess it up, you seem like an idiot as well.
Yeah.
So like people will notice that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just tell people I'm not going to do it, and I apologize straight off the bat. And then we kept the windows open. Sorry guys if there's a bit of noise, but it's too fucking hot in this place. But yeah, like I just tell them, listen, I'm sorry, I'm South African. And I try
the race card.
I try to speak a little bit more with an accent. It's like I'll be
and
fine.
people appreciate it. He's trying.
And it breaks down walls straight away.
Oh yeah.
You know, because if you keep that formality up, then everybody's super formal the whole time. As soon as you take that formality away, I was chatting to CEOs and everything like with no problem. Like all of a sudden we were like human beings, not a CEO and a person and like a random.
No job, but great.
Yeah.
Beers after the meeting.
Exactly. Guys, free beers is almost as good as a job.
Yeah.
It's fine. Anyway, brothers, guys, that was amazing. Is there anything else you want to ask?
No, I think we're good, and you have to leave as well. So I think
no, I'm good. If you guys need to continue something, I have time. But
no, I think we've done enough with you actually.
Yeah.
And that's how they kick you out, you know.
Arcade Studio Podcast.
No. We have to talk to him. We have to ask him about where you can find his stuff, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, you think people actually get to this point?
Yeah. We're hoping that people have gotten this far.
No, sure. But no, one thing I do actually want to ask you about is you did the double show in I think it was Siena. You did like in one night you did an English set and an Italian set, and I was wondering like, because I think that's a really unique and a really interesting and super smart thing to be doing at this point in time in Italy. So like, how did that go? And like, are you going to do more of them next shows?
So firstly, I gotta say, I did not think I would enjoy doing Italian stand-up as much as I do right now. And mostly I think also the audience enjoys, because I mean, I know there are a lot of other foreigners who do Italian stand-up comedy, but there's very few, let's say, who are like recent immigrants, because they're like maybe foreigners, but you know, they're not Italian origin, but they've been born and brought up here. There's, I think, like right now maybe 7 or 8 comedians who came probably in like the past 4 or 5 years or 10 years, who are able to do like at a decent level. And I think Italians that way, very nice that they're very supportive. And also then I benefit from the thing that, you know, I have a different point of view. So everything I talk about, I am not Italian, so I will obviously see it from a different point of view. But then that is a big advantage of me. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of it. You know, I talk about the language, about my difficulties learning. But then they're always so nice, because they're like, wow, I never saw that from that point of view. So I enjoy doing Italian comedy so much now. It's amazing, and I've gotten a beautiful response for it. So when they asked me, do you want to do a show in Siena? This was also strange, because I knew this woman who was an author. They invited her because she wrote a book about stand-up comedy in India, and she said, look, my book is about stand-up comedy. She's Italian. My book is about stand-up comedy in India. I know an Indian comedian because she's come to all my shows. And they were like, oh, cool, let's get him too. And initially they said, would you like to do a show? I was sure. And they were like, oh, maybe you have to do an Italian, because, you know, we don't know how many of our local people are going to get it. And I had never done 1 hour until then. I had done like 30 minutes for sure, I knew a lot more of my material that I had like bookmarked, saying, I know this is translatable. I had kind of translated it in my mind, but I never performed it. So I knew I had like at least 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
but there were like only 35 that had tried out for sure. So, and then I said, you know, I'm just going to do 1 hour in Italian. But then a lot of people messaged me saying, oh no, you're doing just in Italian, because there were a lot of international students. So I said, you know what, let's do an English show as well. And then I went there, and the only request I had was, could I do the Italian show first? Because I'm obviously more nervous for the Italian one. They said, no, let's not confuse them and blah, 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 because people bookmark in the calendar. In the end, there were many people who stayed back for both the shows.
That's fucking amazing. That's awesome.
For me, that was so anxious, because there are a lot of jokes that are common in both the shows.
Yeah.
But then what they told me was that while the story is the same, it sounds very different in Italian versus English. And they said there were some jokes we liked better in Italian. There were some jokes we liked better in English. So there was like some joke happening with my mom and my airport and stuff, which the story is the same. The punchline is the same. My translation is pretty decent. But they said like that felt much more authentic in English. Whereas there are some stories about like the bureaucracy or the Milan or something about Italy, for example, or there was one joke about Epstein files for some reason that worked better in Italian. So they were like, they said, you know, while a lot, like maybe 50% of the show or 80% was same, and they said it felt completely different because they heard it, and I was like, I never thought of it from my point of view. And for me, that was amazing. So in fact, now I'm thinking of doing it as a thing, you know, like either I could team up with another comedian who, in fact, one of my ideas is I want to do a show called Confusion in Language. So you have comedians who do both Italian and English. There's going to be a judge, and every time they ring the bell, you have to switch language.
Right, okay. That'll be fun. We can do that.
Gonna be
I can do that.
Great.
Holy cow.
I'll be there. I love it.
You can choose the language as well. Now do it in German.
No,
That's
but yeah,
cool.
so
You basically did like A/B testing, like in one night you did both.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, people were like, oh, you're going to be tired. And I'm like, look, when I'm on stage, I love it. It's an adrenaline
It's always too short,
rush.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always over.
Yeah.
And before you, like, it's like, oh, Jesus, I wish I could have spent a little bit more time on there.
Exactly.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I always think about that Dave Chappelle YouTube video. He does like 4 hours, and they like close the comedy cellar, and they just like have anyone who is inside is just there, and they all stay there. And he's just like riffing for like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. It's one of the best stand-up sets of all time. It's so sick. And I always think about that. Like, how would that be? Like, if you get like, you know, snowstorm,
free rain,
like how cool
captive
would that
audience.
be? Yeah, just like there. That'd be amazing.
And you're Dave Chappelle.
And you're Dave Chappelle, of course. But I mean, like, I think Vamshi.
Dave Chappelle is a black comedian that he's from
like
Ohio.
me.
Oh yeah,
I have hair. So Dave.
Hey,
I don't
Dave.
think we should be dissing Dave, but if Dave hears this, then we're good.
Yeah,
I'm sure he will. He clicked the bell.
Yeah, he follows.
No.
Sick, man. Okay, I think.
Where can we find
where can
your
we
comedy?
find you? What are you doing? Have you got any shows in the next month or so?
Oh yeah. So this Saturday. So if you see this one by this Saturday I'm
Impossible.
doing a show called Surviving in Milan, which I changed it. If it's in Milan, I put Surviving in Milan. If I'm outside, I put Surviving in Italy, just to get more people. Saturday I'm doing a show called Surviving in Milan. We're also going to be doing a weekend update. At the end of that, we had to change it. We had to call it the Weekend Report, because I realized if I put the name officially, there is a chance
Of course.
someone, I mean, it's not like, you know, Michael Chen, like Colin Yost are going to see my show, but still. No, that's there this weekend. And I guess this is going to be like my last show for this season. Then in September and October, I'm planning to go to like Turin and Naples in English. And Bologna. I will go back. That was the only show I've cancelled in my life, and it hurts me so much. I'm like, never again I'm going to cancel a show in my life. Even if there's 3 people, I'm going to go for that fucking show. So Bologna, Naples, and Turin is the idea, and Rome again. So yeah, as of now, the only show Saturday, but this week I'm doing comedy basically every day. Yeah.
And where can we find all the dates once they're up on your Instagram?
Yes. So Instagram, I just have Instagram because in India TikTok is banned, so I don't use TikTok. My Instagram is Vamshi Comedy. It's simple. Vamshi is my name. Comedy is my surname. No. My surname has Andy.
Don't follow him after this.
He doesn't deserve it.
Oh my god. I'm gonna just unfollow you.
That would have been a sick pickup line.
That would be amazing if your name was comedy.
That's what it means in Hindi.
Krishna means comedy?
Yeah, okay.
Didn't know that. That's why the show's so good. Like.
Yep.
And I want to give out actually a great shout out to these guys. You know, you were one. I mean, like when I first met you guys, I thought like they were like these bougie kind of, we have a studio kind of people. I swear, because that's what they introduced me to you. They said, "Oh, this is two guys, brothers, who are gonna come, and their names like Rene and Andy, and you know they have a studio." And I was like, "Oh, gay."
Yeah.
Terrible.
No, but
in the best sense of the word, of course.
the best. No, but I thought like you guys were, I don't know, something into like fashion, and I saw something like, you know, photography. I saw your account, and I was like, they're gonna be like these, you know, asshole kind of, not asshole, but you know, there are these people who are just very like picky and be like, we don't talk to others and kind. And I remember afterwards meeting you guys, and I was like, they're fine, they're okay.
You met
They're
him
chill.
and you thought, okay, they're assholes, and you met me and you're like, okay,
Okay, we can deal with
50-50.
50-50, 6-7.
Oh, thank you, man. That's awesome. It's
No, I
nice to hear.
That's why we don't work a lot in our industries, because we're not bougie. So-
Or maybe people think we're like really bougie and like assholes. I think
I
we
mean, no, your studio is great, but you guys are, I mean, you guys mix very well, so that's amazing. If I had a studio like you, I would be such an asshole, you know. I swear,
you know
I
what?
would be. I would
There's
not
always-
talk
You know what,
to anyone.
the best thing about the studio is the fact that I can get people in here and help out if I can, you know. So like I'd love to do maybe like an evening here or something as well, you know, like get 20 people in. The only thing is we've got this column in the middle of the thing, which is a pain in the backside. But we'll must make a plan. We'll make a plan. We'll do it, because this is everybody's playground. That's why it's the arcade. So anybody who's got an idea must just pull in. That's the same for you guys. Just as long as it's a good idea and you bring a lot of people.
You do realize that you should change the slogan now.
What?
Because now it's like work hard, play hard, and it's like you should just, this is everyone's playground.
You think I should change it now?
Yeah.
I mean, Arcade Studio Podcast, everybody's playground.
See you
Cool.
soon.
Guys, remember to like, subscribe, follow, all that shit. Comment, please comment. Even if it's a bad comment, we'll take it. It's fine. We'll argue in the things. I love arguing in the comments, so please keep it coming. Keep the hate coming. I love it all.
Yeah, and at this point in English and Italian.
Yeah,
so we
absolutely.
Can, so also Vamshi can see both
Pull
sides of the coin.
Vamshi, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been
Thank you so
amazing.
much,
You're a
guys.
legend. Woo!
Cheers.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to Arcade Studio Podcast with Andrea and René Olivo. 100% self-produced and free. Available on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and other podcast platforms. Just like all creatives, we are obsessed with feedback too. So, leave us a review. Did you like the episode, guest, or topics? Write to us. Any comments, suggestions, or proposals? Write to us. Don't like the font, colors, or how we talk? Fuck off. But then, write to us. We're open to all interactions because your feedback is fundamental to help us get better. Arcade Studio Podcast with Andrea and René Olivo. Listen more.